Hi, welcome everybody to this episode of the Slapshot Podcast. It's me, Mark Meriday, with my friend Jessica Kirchner, back to bring you some, well, let's hope, good news. I don't know. I'm waiting on Jess for this tonight. Jess, I'm hanging on by a thread here. These guys have got me feeling some kind of way. I'm in my feelings about halfway through every game. I don't know. Bring me back to life, please. Let's take the next 20 minutes to half hour and you bring me hope.
I know a lot of people are, wondering what Hextall is going to do. Are we going to make a trade? Are the boys even going to make it to the playoffs? And there was very positive outlets from them today. At practice, there was positivity coming from them while they were out over the break. And I have seen that core that we have, Crosby, Malkin, and Letang, pull off some amazing things over the years. And I just don't think they're ready to throw in the towel.
Oh, I don't think they're ready to throw in the towel, Jess. And it's not Crosby, Malkin, Letang, or the top two lines that are my worry. I'm not sure about the defense, to be honest with you. I don't know. I don't know how to respond to that. Our goaltending situation is a train wreck. You can dice up to Smith however you want to dice him up, but he's a train wreck. A goalie has got to steal you a couple of games. And only thing he's done is pass a few games along, in my opinion. I mean, he's really been an AHL goalie this year for us. Played a lot of games, and he just doesn't look like a NHL backup. I mean, I would agree with you. I have a lot of faith in those three guys. My concern with those three guys, Jess, is the fact that they're old. They're old by NHL standards.
They're older, but they're not old.
Okay.
So, I mean, Crosby's still producing at a high level. Malkin's still producing at a high level. Chris was gone 2 games, suffered a stroke, lost his father, and then come back and scored 4 points in his very first game back in a little over 2 months. I mean, he was setting that met a record that he had set in like 2013, I think. So they definitely still have it. Goaltending is definitely an issue. Jarry looks to be getting a lot closer. I will definitely feel a lot better with Tristan Jarry in the net than I would Casey DeSmith. But that bottom 6 has got to get better.
It's terrible. It's terrible. And and you know what, Jess? I'm going back to the Cup years, 16 and 17, which is what? We're 6 or 7 years removed from that. Whatever. Or what? 5 or 6 years. Whatever we are. 6 or 7, 5 or 6. I can't think. But they brought up guys from Wilkes-Barre, Scranton. They plugged them in. They produced. We're bringing them up. They sit up in the box. They watch what's going on the ice. They don't give a chance to produce. And when they do produce, like DOC, he produces. And what does Sully do? He sits them. I don't get it. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't. I would rather see a guy like Poling and O'Connor, these guys sub 25 years old, sub 24 years old, be out there. Go ahead and put Jeff Carter up in the box. He's not producing. He's not doing a darn thing for this team. In fact, after that first run, when he first came to the Penguins 2 years ago, what has he really, really done? Maybe he's added some veteran leadership. I don't know. You may know better than me, but like, I'm not getting it from him. I mean, we re-signed Heinen. Good thing we didn't give him money, right? Like, he's not going to get anything on the open market after this year. He has been subpar. I want to see some of those young guys come up and play. I want to see, what's his name? VP, Valerie Pastusin, or what? I want to see those guys come up and play a little bit.
I think the biggest issue is just we're so tight against that cap. Like, we could put guys in the press box, but unless we're putting them on LTIR, we can't make that move to bring anybody up. DOC is still up, but if Archibald, who looks ready to play, who said he's ready to play. If Archibald's ready to go tomorrow night, DOC's got to go back down. Now, the good thing is he's still waiver exempt, so we don't have to worry about that. But that's another young guy that's got to go back down in order to make room for Archibald to come up. It's the cap. We're so tight against that cap. Like, I get where Hextall's coming from in a way. His hands are literally tied.
But he's got to be willing to do something. If you're going to have this core together, and correct me if I'm wrong, from my perspective, if you're going to keep this core together, you almost have to sell your soul to the devil. And you got to get rid of Kapanen, and you got to get rid of, unfortunately, Teddy has been a train wreck this year. It's the last year on his deal. You got to think about moving him. You got to think about moving Dumoulin. If that means you've got to trade some draft picks with those guys to sell your soul for the current future, because those guys are going to be another year older next year. I mean, you really got to you really got to do it. I mean, you got to go one way or another. You can't build the minor leagues and play with these guys at the major league level and think that both things are going to work in Pittsburgh, because it's not. You got a lot of money tied up into some older guys. You got money tied up in guys like Cappy, who I like that guy. I do, but he doesn't fit this team. He doesn't. They've given him every opportunity, and he doesn't fit this team. He's got to go one way or another, though. He just has to,
Right.
Right.
And
go ahead.
We went from a GM that would sell everything to a GM that's not wanting to move anything. Matter of fact, Hextall's presser yesterday, he said he's not interested in moving that first round draft pick that we have coming up in the upcoming draft. He's not interested in moving it, which I get it, because we were without first round draft picks for so long, but a first round draft pick is not going to win us the cup next year.
No,
a first round draft pick is not going to win the cup this year.
Something.
So,
and you tell me if you agree with this. Something I've learned about the NHL and the minor leagues: unless you make an immediate impact as a first round draft pick, you usually don't make it. Like, I don't remember very few first round draft picks that were picked 20th or something like that have made an impact after 4 years in the minor leagues. I just don't. How many times do we trade for guys that were number one draft picks, and they've gone up and down for the last 8 years, and all of a sudden we have them on our team and they're saying, well, he was a number one draft pick for the Anaheim Ducks in 2014. Well, guess what? He went up and down for the Ducks, and he's not even gonna. He's in our bottom six, and he still doesn't produce. Just as an example. But to me, a great scout in the NHL is somebody who goes out and finds that undrafted free agent and gets him under contract, develops him, and brings him up. I just feel like that's the guys that we've had a lot of luck with in the past. And unless we're not getting Bedard, right? We're not getting Bedard. We're not going to be in the top 5. We're not going to be in the top 10, most likely. Okay.
Right.
So why keep that draft pick? What good is that guy going to do for you while you still have this core here? He's probably not going to be in with this core. And if he is, he's going to be at the tail end of this core 3 years from now, 4 years from now. I'm sorry, Jess, but Sid and the boys are not winning the cup 3 or 4 years from now, because they don't have that kind of guys coming up to be able to supplement them in 3 or 4 years from now.
Right. I mean, our farm team they're doing pretty good this year. I will give the baby Penguins that. They're doing pretty good. But it's, we take a couple of the guys from the baby pens and bring them up to the big club to play while the boys are hurt or they're recovering or whatever. And you can see that the baby pens don't look so good anymore. So I would agree. The top first round draft picks, if you're not pulling the top 5, they're just not making an impact. Like, everybody assumes that if we save our first round draft pick, we're going to be able to draft somebody like Sidney Crosby. That's not going to happen. Like, I can't even remember the last time we had a first rounder other than Sid and Gino come up and really make a splash with the big club. Like, I mean, I would have to, I would have to look it up, but we had Marc-Andre Fleury, we had Sidney Crosby, And then we had Evgeny Malkin, who went number 2. And everybody else that we've had success with have been like third rounds. They've been late. Like Patrick Hornquist, when we got him from Nashville and he come in and started making an immediate impact. Patrick Hornquist was the very last draft pick in that class. So I would agree. I think a lot of people hold a lot of hope for a first round draft pick, and I just don't think it's feasible. So I agree. I wish Ron would, if he needs to sell it, let's go.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And you know what? If he's not going to sell because of the money, trade away people and just play for a high draft pick.
Right.
Play to be in the lottery. Play to be in the lottery like you did with Sid. You never know. Maybe you'll get Bedard. I doubt it, but hey, that would be great. We'd have the guy for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
Right.
But the cap, I mean, that's true. But the cap issue is tight. Like right now, there is 19 NHL teams that have no cap. Right. 19. Yep. So that leaves us 13 teams that can move players in and out. But 2 of those 13 teams have less than $1 million in cap space. So now that leaves us with 11 teams. But of those 11 teams that have, cap space, 6 of them have less than $5 million. And when it comes to trade deadline, $5 million is not going to get you a lot if you're not extremely careful. So that leaves 5 teams out of the entire NHL that can easily move players in and out. So it's going to be difficult making moves at that trade deadline.
And who are those 5 teams?
Of the 5 teams, I know it was
Arizona.
I think Arizona was one. Buffalo Sabres was one. I don't remember who the other ones were off the top of my head.
Is New Jersey in there?
I don't think New Jersey was in there.
I will tell you that Arizona's playing for Bedard. So if you're going to get anybody to move somebody to you and take some expiring contracts, that's the team that you want to work with. Let's move. So, let's go ahead and move Dumoulin and Kapanen into them because they have the cap space, and take Chikrin from them.
Right. The 5 teams that have more than $5 million in cap space is Buffalo, Arizona, Anaheim, Detroit, Chicago.
So nobody that's even probably going to make the playoffs.
Right.
Right. And out of those 5 teams, like Buffalo's got to be extremely careful, because if Buffalo isn't, in a few years, they are going to be very good and they're going to have to pay guys. Right. Owen Power's going to want paid. Ristan, what's his name? The defenseman, the other defenseman. He was a number 1 pick.
I know Doug looking for a payday soon.
They're going to want. Yeah, they're going to want. Those guys are going to want paid soon. In the NHL, getting paid is nothing like in the NFL or Major League Baseball, but that's one team that has to be very careful with it. But the other 4, maybe you can get Adam Enrique for a song from Anaheim. Maybe you can send Jari to Anaheim and pick up Gibson, but you've got to pick up a $6 million contract for the next 4 years with Gibson. Is Gibson the guy?
Yeah, $6.4 million through the 26-27 season with a modified no trade clause.
Yeah, he has 10 wins. Jess, he has 10 wins in 30 games.
Yeah, and Jari has 16 wins in 27 games. So my money's on Tristan Jari all day long. I do not want to see Tristan Jari moved. I know people were talking about Dominko, who Thatcher Dominko's stats are so much. I don't know where people pull that, but like if you look at that on paper, it doesn't even make sense. Thatcher Dominko is not the goaltender that Pittsburgh Penguins need. Pittsburgh Penguins need Tristan Jari. Yeah. They need a healthy Tristan Jari, and they need a backup that can let Jari rest when Jari needs to rest.
They need a 1A. They need a number 1, and they need a 1A.
And we had Philip Gustafson before we did that stupid Brassard trade, but that's a different story for a different day.
Yeah, and you know what? He's playing well.
Oh my God. Yeah, he looks so good right now. He looks so good behind
very well.
Mark.
It's painful.
Yep.
It's painful, some of
Yeah.
those trades. But again, what I'll say for Jim Rutherford is he was willing to gamble to win a cup.
He was, and he did back to back.
He won 2 cups. The other thing is, I guess part of this salary cap thing to me, it's very disappointing that the NHL signed a long-term deal with ESPN and they're not getting the fans like they had anticipated because ESPN doesn't push it the way they probably should, or the way they should.
Right. And then,
I won't say probably,
right.
the way they should.
And then I hear a lot of people complain about the blackouts. I'm in an area where I don't have to really worry about blackouts because the closest arena to me is 8 hours away. So I don't have to really worry about having blackouts, but I had so many people complain about that too, that ESPN is pushing the games and they have the blackouts. And so they're really not doing a good job at promoting NHL hockey.
The only somewhat gratification I get out of all this is I've got a lot of friends, a lot of good friends actually, that are Caps fans, and they feel the same way we do. Like our teams are grasping for air. Although I've seen the Caps make a few moves lately, and you know, they signed Sonny Milano to 1.75 for what, next 3 or 4 years. Yes. Okay, whatever. He's a bottom 6. He's probably a damn good bottom 6 though. And they just signed somebody else to a $5 million a year. I can't think of who it was. Somebody that they traded for, I think it was the end of last year. I'm drawing a blank on it. I just read it though, but they had signed 2 guys within 2 days period of time, trying to get a little younger and bring in some guys. Yeah, I with the Penguins, you know, bottom 6 is a problem in goaltending. It's a problem.
Right.
And then I think you play Ty Smith. I think you play Ty Smith. You sit Rue Weedle. You play Ty Smith. You play P.O. Joseph. You know, if they move one of those 2 guys, they are not mortgaging the future. They're crushing the franchise because those 2 guys are going to be pivotal people going forward for them as far as the defense goes. Because Dumoulin's going to be gone. You know, and you know who else they miss? They're missing Jan Ruda.
He's still out. Him.
Yeah, like you miss a guy like that. And people don't understand that. He's a no-name guy who comes in and he makes a big difference. He may not have 26 minutes a game like Chris Letang, but his minutes count. You know, he gives a guy like P.O. Joseph as a third line pairing. He gives him the opportunity to take the puck and go up ice and make a play while he stays back.
Yep.
You know,
agreed.
It really is frustrating from that standpoint. I'm just hoping that we see a different team on the ice tomorrow. Well, by the time this airs, it'll be tonight, but I'm hoping we see a different team on the ice tomorrow against Colorado. I really am. Like, they play 3 periods, play 60 minutes of hockey. Play like you have the desire to win. Put your body on the ice to stop a shot. You know, take a guy out of a play. If you're going to take a penalty, make it a good penalty. Make it a worthwhile penalty. You know, we're not seeing those things. You know, and that's what scares me. Like we want to talk about accountability for this team. Is it Sully's message? And I think we talked about this last time you and I talked. Is his message getting stale? Is his message getting old? Is he trying to bring these guys through the rough waters the same way he's done year after year, getting a response, but now he's not? The shelf life on those NHL coaches is very short, you know?
Right. But Ron Hextall was very adamant when he said, he was talking about, he thinks Sullivan's a terrific coach. He'd put him up against any coach in the league.
Absolutely.
And quote, if there's any players that are not responding to him, I would look to move those players. So if there is some beef in that locker room between Sully and a player or multiple players, they need to figure it out. Because
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Paper, this is really, really good. They're not showing that on the ice, but on paper, this team looks really, really good. And we need them to do what we know that they can do and what they're capable of. And of course, it starts at the top with Hextall and goes all the way down. But if there's any issues, they need to figure it out.
I know you put something out a while ago talking about how he was the general manager quickest to win 100 games.
Mm-hmm.
I don't buy into him, though. I didn't buy into him when he was hired. I wanted to see them go out and hire somebody who was hungry to be a general manager. And I'm not quite sure. You not only brought in Hextall, but you brought in Brian Burke, and we don't hear anything about Brian Burke. We know nothing about what he does for this organization. Why was he brought in? He's collecting a paycheck. Did somebody owe him something? He should be more influential. We should hear something from what he's doing behind the scenes to help this team get better. You don't even see a sign of a Brian Burke team on the ice when you watch the Penguins play. I mean, he has a certain way he likes his guys to play. They're not even doing that, and I mean, I'm trying to figure that piece out. I think at the end of the day, what's going to happen is you're going to see this new ownership group move on from those guys. Honestly, I think come hell or high water, whether they win or lose, I do think that they will move on from them. They've got to have a more definitive direction. They've been riding a wave up and down for how long this season? It's you won 7, you lost 6, you won 3, you lost 5. There's no consistency. There's no consistency. Well, and again, go ahead.
They need to figure out the direction. Ron Hextall is the type of GM that's going to build for the future. GM JR was the type of GM that was going to, you were going to win now. So if you signed Letang and Malkin to keep that core together because we have a limited amount of time, a limited window to win more cups. So what are we doing? Are we in win now mode, or are we building for the future? Because if we're building for the future, then why did you resign those guys?
Yeah, I agree.
Like, they really need a direction, and let's go.
I know that Hextall's knock in Philadelphia, the reason they hired him was to rebuild their minor league system.
Yeah.
Because they were gutted, and he did a great job of doing that, but they couldn't, it couldn't go from the ECHL to the AHL to the NHL. It went from the ECHL to the AHL, and then that gap right there, that next jump wasn't happening. And that you need a guy at the AHL level who's preparing them not only to play at the AHL level, but to prepare them to make that jump and be productive. I think you're missing that guy also in the AHL for us. I don't know. I don't feel like we're seeing that. There's production down there. We have some guys doing things. I mean, the Gruden kid, I mean, just you and I could probably together name more than half of that team because there's been production down there, not just because we're fans, but because there's been production down there for a lot of those guys. I mean, they're still playing without Sam Poulin, right?
Yeah.
He's not back. He may not come back this year.
Right.
And
I mean, if we keep snagging their starting goaltender. Like, he hasn't really been given a chance to do anything at the NHL level, but at the AH level, he's doing a phenomenal job down there with them.
Yeah.
And they're still winning without him. Yeah. So there's definitely production AHL level.
I've seen him play 2 or 3 times, and believe it or not, they play a more complete team-oriented game, first through fourth line, 3 defensive rollings than I see the Penguins play. Like, they look, and I know they're fighting to make the contract at the NHL. I'm not stupid, but there's still cohesiveness down there that I don't see. But what I also don't see is when those guys do make that jump, Sully doesn't give them that chance. And going along with that, like, Sully played those guys when he brought up Sheary and Rust, and those were his guys down in Wilkes-Barre Scranton. So he knew what he was getting. Well, he's not going to know what he's getting with these guys if he doesn't give them a legit chance. In my opinion, you got to give them a legit chance.
I agree.
Go ahead, move on from Kapanen. If somebody will take Kapanen in a draft pick, get rid of him. Get rid
Right,
of him.
let's go.
Get rid of Doomy. We loved him. He was great, but he's been on a downward slide for over 2 years now. We watch it happen.
Mm-hmm.
He's not the same
Right.
player. It happens to the best of them.
Right.
Someplace he can go that he would help out a young defensive core, and then he could move
Right.
on. But it's just not happening with him in Pittsburgh. Like at the end of the day, accountability has to fall on somebody. It starts with Hextall, like you said, and it comes down to Sullivan. It could be Sullivan's assistants. Maybe those guys coaching under him. Where we're going to find out a lot about that is when Tocchet really gets what he needs up in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Because he got Gonchar on that staff, and he's got another former Penguin assistant. Can't think of off the top of my head, but he grabbed another former Penguin assistant up there, and that's who's behind his bench with him. And we're going to find out if those guys were the part of the reason that Sullivan had all that success with these guys. I know for a fact that, and I know you know this, that Tocchet was the reason we got what we got out of Phil.
Mm-hmm.
He
Our
knows how to
PK was all Tocchet.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it just, I guess we'll see what happens down the road. All right, Jess. So at this point, we're starting all over. We're going into the second part of the season per se, and they have got to be a stronger team than what they are. Tell me what are we looking for? Okay, don't tell me the obvious, Jess. I know you've got your thumb on the pulse of this team on a regular basis. All right. Tell me what we're going to see. Tell me what you're looking for on practice. Tell me what kind of difference is going to be made.
I need to see that fourth line become that grinder line again. I need to see Poland, and I need to see Archibald. I need to see them working together again, because we have to get scoring through all four lines. Two lines can't carry us. I need Raquel to find that chemistry again with Crosby and Jake, and let's get that line going. And I need Zucker and Malkin to keep doing what they're doing, whether that involves Rusty or not. I love Rusty, but I need Zucker and Malkin to step it up, and let's go. Carter, it would be great if I could see some production from that line. But if nothing else, I just need him to keep winning those face-offs like he's been doing. That's about the only thing Carter has going for him right now, is that the face-off win percentage. And then like I said, I need Teddy, I need Archibald, and I need Poland to get those lines rolling, to bring that fire and that tenacity, and let's go. It would be great to see Ruda come back and really help lift POJ up, because I know he's been struggling lately. I think Ruda really gave a lot of strength to POJ, because like you were talking about earlier, Ruda kind of held the line while he let POJ shoot through with that speed and that puck handling. So I would love to be able to see that come back. And then obviously I need Tristan Jarry back in that net.
You're the general manager of this team, and I know we've played this game before. We're a few weeks out of March 3rd. Who are you calling on the phone to make a deal with, and what are you moving?
I think at this point, I don't know if there's anyone specific that I would bring in over maybe bringing some of the babies up and playing them more permanently. But to make a deal, just to make a deal, I don't know that I would do that right now. Versus, like I said, maybe bringing one or two up from the AHL.
I'm going to give you some names, and you tell me if they're going to be Penguins next fall. Kasperi Kapanen.
I don't know. There's something in him that they're holding on to, and I just can't figure out what it is because I've yet to see it.
Ryan Rust.
I think they would have to get an extremely good return for Rusty to no longer be a Penguin.
Jeff Petrie.
I think Petrie stays a Penguin just because we have 19 teams out there with no cap space.
How about some of the younger guys? Is Ty Smith going to make it? Or is he going to get moved?
I just don't know if I see Ty Smith playing at the NHL level as the Pittsburgh Penguins. Not that I don't think he can do it. I just don't know if this is the team for him.
Ruhwedel's contract's up this year.
Mm-hmm.
Dumoulin's contract's up this year. No better place to start than bringing up that youth.
I agree.
You know,
I agree.
P.O. Joseph, is he a Penguin in the fall? Because we heard a lot of trade talk around him.
I would like to see POJ stay. I don't necessarily think I would give him extended years, but I would definitely try to get him for another 2, possibly 3, just to see exactly what he can do, because this is really his first full year at the NHL level. And, defensemen take a little bit longer than forwards. So,
Jess, when I check the standings on Super Bowl Sunday, what's the Penguins' 1-loss record the rest of this week?
I'm hoping we have a 0-loss record, but I don't want to upset the hockey gods. So whatever will be, I guess.
It's been awesome talking with you, kiddo. It's been a while. So we're going to have to reconvene more frequently because we're getting into hockey season. Now the football season is officially, we'll call it hockey season. Now the football season is kind of fading into the abyss after this upcoming Sunday. There's going to be a lot to discuss. I sense big changes with this team in some way, shape, or form. I have one prediction. I predicted if Evgeny Malkin stands up and in his wonderful broken Russian voice, he speaks his mind, and this team responds to him. Sid does it on the ice. We know that. Mm-hmm. But when Malkin usually speaks up and the kind of season he's having right now, people usually respond. And I have a funny feeling that you're going to see Gino kind of take the bull by the horns from a verbal standpoint and get the point across.
Would love to see it. Would love to see it.
Thank you so much. It's been great talking to you again. And let's get together again real soon, hopefully next week, and we can talk about some victories and pushing ahead of the Capitals and getting ourselves back into a more comfortable position as we look at the end of the season, not too far away, because it'll come fast. You know that. Jess, do you realize 4 games in 16 days for these guys?
Yeah, it's going to be a grind.
February, so they can continue to rest and be healthy. What I liked about Sid playing in that All-Star game was everybody gushed over him and Ovechkin, and I thought that was about as honorable and admirable as you could possibly see.
Yes.
I have grown as a hockey person to really respect and love Ovechkin's game. Of course, I root against him when he's playing the Penguins, but I just think that as a hockey player, we've been blessed to see that guy play hockey.
Amen.
So,
all
right, Jess, take care. Stay warm, and better days are ahead, kid. Better days are ahead.
Absolutely. Sounds great.
Take care.